Hi everyone and welcome to another video. In this video, as you have possibly guessed from the title, I'm going to be taking you behind the scenes of how I create my booktube content and how I run my channel. So this week is actually the 3-year anniversary of when I started my channel, and I was trying to come up with some fun ideas of videos I could make to celebrate, and this was the best that I could come up with. So I don't know how interesting this video is going to be, but I know that I really enjoy watching videos like this where other creators are talking about how they come up with content ideas and how they edit their videos and all of that good behind the scenes stuff. So I guess we're gonna get straight into the video. I have made some notes of things that I want to cover, but I just want this video to be a bit of a chat. I might try and leave timestamps in the description actually, because I think I can group some stuff together. I'm just going to lift my laptop up onto my lap. But yeah, the first thing that I wanted to talk through is the equipment that I use. So the only equipment that I actually bought when I first started my channel was a microphone. So there's a couple of different microphones that I've used over the last few years. The first microphone that I had was, I think it's called a lapel microphone, that basically attaches to the front of your clothing. The main reason I switched to what I have now, which I think it's called a boom mic, I'm not sure actually. I'll take a picture so that you can see. But the reason that I switched microphones a couple of years ago is because I'm very expressive in videos. I kept hitting the microphone that was pinned to my clothing, and it was really annoying me when I would come to edit because it just felt really jarring to me. I know that like it's probably not a big deal, but yeah, that was the main reason that I switched. I think the audio quality was actually better on my last microphone, but this is a lot easier for vlogs and stuff where I just want to whip out the camera and film a quick update. It means that I'm not getting tangled up in wires and stuff. So that's the microphone that I use now. The camera that I use is called a Canon 250D, so it's an SLR camera. The main reason why I bought this camera was for photography. So I went on holiday in November 2019 to Disneyland Paris and I wanted to be able to take nice photos while I was away, so I already had this camera ready. It also has like a flip screen so I can see myself in the viewfinder, that's the word that I'm looking for. Actually, you know what might be cool? I will take a video on my phone just so you can see what my setup actually looks like and where I film typically when I'm in this room. So the lighting isn't great, but hopefully you can see my camera and my microphone and the viewfinder there, and also the junk that I keep on my windowsill. But I always film in front of this window because it brings in a lot of natural light, and you can also see in the background I have 2 ring lights. So this was the first ring light that I bought and it was fine at first, but then I bought this freestanding one which has like a longer stand, and I find that's much easier for filming sit down videos like this where I'm not sat at a desk or anything, and like when I balance that ring light on this windowsill, it's a little bit dodgy. So that's the main equipment that I use. I also have a tripod, which is just a really cheap one that I got on Amazon about 10 years ago. I used to have a blog. I don't know whether I've actually said that yet, but that's why I have a lot of the equipment already, because I used to take photos for my blog back in the day. The only other equipment that I use is my phone. So I have a Google Pixel 7. When I upgraded my phone last year, I wasn't sure whether to get the 7 or the 7 Pro, but I went for the 7 because it's a lot smaller and it's easier to handle. But I use this for B-roll when I'm out and about because I don't want to take my massive SLR camera with me. I have considered getting a smaller vlogging camera, but the one that I want is quite expensive, so I might treat myself later this year. But for now, I quite like the equipment that I have. So if it ain't broke, then then don't fix it. When I first started my channel, I was working with a very old Windows laptop, and the one that I use now is still Windows. I don't know the specific name or model, but I upgraded my laptop around a year, maybe a year and a half after I started my channel, and the one thing that I was looking for was speed. So the laptop that I have, I think, is a specialised gaming laptop, and it's so much faster than my last laptop. It's honestly made such a difference. I actually forget how much of a difference it made, but when I first started my channel, it would take me hours to edit and export a video, whereas now it's like half the time. The editing software that I use is called DaVinci Resolve, which is free on Windows, and I think when I was researching, it was the one that was consistently recommended, so that's why I ended up going with it. It's a little tricky to use at first, I'm not gonna lie, but there's loads of tutorials on YouTube, which is how I learn, and now I find it really intuitive and it does everything that I want it to do, so that's the main thing. It's getting a little bit hot in here, so I'm just gonna take off my jumper, but the next thing I wanted to talk about was thumbnails. So when I first started my channel, I used Canva to make all of my thumbnails. I'll see if I can put some examples on the screen. This is like really complicated to explain, so I'm not going to go into detail, but I realised that I was paying for a Photoshop subscription through Adobe, so I taught myself how to use Photoshop, and that's what I still use today. The last thing I wanted to talk about in this section was music. So most of the music that I use in my vlogs is from a website called Thematic, and I think that's what it's called. But basically this is a website where you can find copyright-free music, and you can use this music in your YouTube videos as long as you credit in the description. So I think the free plan gives you 5 downloads a month, which I find is fine because I only really use music in my vlogs. But then if I ever need any extra music, I use the YouTube audio library, which is actually pretty decent. There is another website that I've used in the past called Bensound, but only occasionally because, yeah, like I said, I only really use music in vlogs, and I tend to repeat songs over and over again. The number of times I've got music stuck in my head, and I've been racking my brains trying to work out where I heard this song, only to realise that it's a thematic track. Okay, so in this next section, I wanted to talk a little bit about content. And I'm going to talk through how I come up with content ideas and things like that, but honestly my process is a little bit chaotic. I know that I'm not as organised as I could be, but this is what works for me. So I basically use my TBR game to decide what vlogs I'm going to be filming each month. Obviously my TBR game also chooses the books that I'm going to read, but essentially after I've played my TBR game, I work out how many books within each genre I have to read, and then I use that to decide what vlogs I'm going to make. I feel like I'm not explaining this very well. Basically, whenever I have a vlog idea, I write it down in a Word document. So I have a massive Word document on my phone which is full of vlog ideas, and depending on what I roll in my TBR game, I then look at my list of content ideas, and that helps me decide what vlog I'm going to film that month. So at some point I will get around to filming all of these vlog ideas, but I'm not in any rush. Like, there are some videos that are more time sensitive, but generally speaking I am quite open every month to what I'm going to be reading and what I'm going to be filming. I'm not so much a mood reader anymore. I do like to know what I'm going to be reading roughly. I like having around 5 or 6 books on my definite TBR, and then I like having the option to mood read in between. It can be quite overwhelming having a massive TBR and not knowing where to even start, but that's why I find that my TBR game is helpful, and it also helps me decide what content to film. So it works both ways. Alongside my Word document that basically acts as a brain dump for all of my rough ideas, I also have a spreadsheet that I sometimes use for if there are any videos that I know I want to film during a specific month. So I use this a lot in January because because I had a lot of end of year content that I wanted to film and I was really struggling to keep track of everything. So I used this quite a lot back then, and then I kind of forgot about it in the middle of the year, but I've started to use it again to plan out content for the autumn and winter. I also have a section down here which I use for general video ideas, but these are specifically videos where I've either already started acquiring the books for those videos or I'm actively working towards them. So these are like priority videos, I guess, that I know I want to get round to as soon as possible. For example, I've been working my way through Ruth Ware's and Taylor Jenkins Reid's backlists this year, and I really want to make videos where I rank and review all of their books. I actually did this for Riley Sager last year, and that's currently my best performing video, I think, on my channel. So when it started to do well, I started thinking of similar videos that I could do. Obviously there's no guarantee that they're going to do as well, but I did also really enjoy filming that video, so I wanted to do, like I said, videos that are similar to that. You can also see that I recently realised that if I read The Name of the Wind, then I can finally react to the 5-star predictions video that I made 2 years ago. So even though this wasn't on my immediate radar, it has now moved up my TBR because I really want to film that video. As I said, I'm not the most organised when it comes to planning out my content, but hopefully this was still interesting and it gives you a little bit of an overview of how I do plan my content when I'm feeling like I want to do that. Something that I want to get better at is making videos outside of reading vlogs. So the majority of the videos that I make are vlogs, and I love making vlogs. I love watching vlogs, and I find vlogs the most easiest type of video to film that fits in with my life. So I can film a quick 5 or 10 minute vlog update on my lunch break or before or after work, but finding the time to make a video like this where I need to sit down and film for over an hour, that's where I struggle. So I want to get better at doing that. I need to find some days where I'm free and I can just book film, but whenever I've tried to do that in the past, I've made like 1 or 2 videos and then I'm just fed up of filming by that point, so I usually give up. When I'm filming, I don't really script my videos because I've done it in the past and it didn't really work for me because I'm an overthinker. I found in the past that sometimes I'd say a sentence and it wouldn't be exactly what I wrote in my notes, and I'd get caught up on saying stuff perfectly when it doesn't really matter. No one's gonna know if I'm not saying things exactly how I've said it in my notes. But yeah, I find that I feel more natural if I have bullet points but not a lot of detail. It does make editing kind of tricky because sometimes I repeat myself and I'm not as concise as I used to be, but yeah, I just find that it makes me feel more relaxed going into a video if I don't know exactly what I need to say. What I do across all of my videos though is subtitle. So I've done this since I started my channel and I have a process now. So what I do is I usually upload my videos around 24 to 48 hours before they're due to go live, and that gives YouTube enough time to generate the auto captions. Then I just need to go in. Usually I copy the entire thing and paste it into a Word document because it's a little bit easier, but then I just edit all of the stuff that YouTube has got wrong. So because I have a bit of an accent, I found that YouTube sometimes doesn't quite pick up what I'm trying to say. So I have to go in and edit stuff, especially like places and people's names. Those are the main things that I need to change, but then it's just a case of copying and pasting back into YouTube and clicking save, and then the subtitles are all ready to go by the time the video is due to go live. I don't have any evidence for this, but I am convinced that YouTube prioritizes videos that have subtitles, and I've also noticed that around 25 to 30% of the people who watch my videos watch with the subtitles switched on. So I feel like it's worth doing. It doesn't take me that long, probably around 30 to 45 minutes, so I can usually fit it in before my video is going live. I usually incorporate it into the time anyway. The final thing I wanted to touch on is how booktube has changed my reading, and I haven't actually made many notes on this because I don't think that my reading has really changed that much since starting booktube. I know that I read a lot more fantasy now. before I discovered booktube, I hadn't really read a fantasy book since I was a teenager. Like, up until starting booktube or discovering booktube and watching booktube, most of the books that I were reading were thrillers and romances and contemporary fiction or literary fiction, whereas now most of the books that I read are fantasy books. I think my reading has changed more since becoming a watcher of booktube compared to a maker of booktube content. So I discovered booktube in 2019, I think, possibly 2020, like early 2020. And obviously I was hearing about all of these incredible books that I wanted to read. And so obviously I started reading more because I was excited about reading and I was watching people who were hyping up all of these books that sounded amazing. So I think being a booktube watcher actually influenced my reading more than being a booktube creator. The only way I think that booktube has influenced my reading is that sometimes I feel pressure to read new releases quite quickly because I know that if I make videos about them, then they're more likely to get picked up by the algorithm and people are more likely to click on them. So it benefits me as a creator, like stats wise. I feel like I did that more though when I first started booktube rather than now. If you've made it this far into the video, actually, I do have a question that I wanted to ask. So if you watch my channel regularly, are there any specific books or genres that you associate with me? That might sound like a really weird question, but the reason I ask is sometimes I struggle to know where my place is within the booktube community. Like, there are so many different niches within booktube. You have romance booktube and thriller booktube and fantasy booktube and literary fiction booktube, and I read all of the above. I actually get really excited when I come across creators who read broadly because that's how I read, and I feel like, I don't know, just an affinity with people who read similarly. That's not a word. I feel excited when I come across people who also read lots of different genres because that's how I prefer to read. But anyway, I have been rambling for long enough, so I'm gonna wrap things up here. Thanks for watching if you made it this far. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it and click subscribe if you would like to see more videos from me, but otherwise I will see you next time. Bye!